One thing I learned about recording with like multiple cameras is like you have to clap. Because whenever you start recording, like, and you want to sync everything, you want to get the audio waves synced, so it kind of helps.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so you just clap once and then like, but we clap 3 times, so.
Well, I just look for the 3 claps. So what have you guys been into lately?
Lately, we just got back from Angel Fire, so.
How was that?
It was a good time.
It was
a really good time.
It was a great time. It was. I think we weren't prepared for technical trails actually being fun.
Oh yeah.
And then the arm pump and the brake bumps were something that was brand new to us.
Brake bumps was the biggest thing that I didn't realize how much it would impact you.
Yeah.
Until I got them, because we went to Angel Fire last year with a Turk Therapy project.
Okay.
And that was actually my wife's fucking first time ever at a bike park, and she had only been riding like solid 6 months off and on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really concerned. So the first day I rode with her and another guy that we're just making sure everybody's good to go. And then I was like, let everybody else ride. You guys know Benjamin Sutton?
Yes.
British guy, tall British guy.
Yeah.
He was there. Jonathan was there. A bunch of other guys, and we just did the bike park for 2 days. And I didn't have my Diamondback because it was the parts didn't come in for my fork. I was gonna be rebuilding the fork, and so I didn't have that. But luckily the program had a specialized stump jumper.
Yeah.
It was like a 2019 or something, or 2020. Okay. So I rode that. It was my first time ever on a 29er. So it was a lot of things I learned with that. And then the first day I had the suspensions too stiff.
Oh,
so
man.
Dude, I was fucking hurt.
Just getting shaken to bits.
Yeah, dude, I was literally I was the old man on the ground, fucking rolling out, because I was in so much pain. But the next day I got it dialed and it was good to go. But I definitely progressed from that. I'm pretty sure you guys.
Oh yeah, man. I'm not scared of anything anymore. Well, not really, but
I mean,
I was still scared of a baby drop at Parkwood, for example.
Yeah.
But
what's the baby drop?
You come down from Absolute.
Okay.
And then you do the little road gap, where you cross mainline.
Yeah, I got you.
And then there's a shark fin. There's two berms that are in.
Oh yeah.
Jump.
Okay, I'm with you.
And then right after the 2 berms.
And it takes you into the creek.
Yeah. I think I ran into you and your wife there. Shoot, maybe a year and a half ago when I had just gotten the rip mill.
Mm-hmm.
I think you said you were training for one of the races. I think you didn't have your pivot yet. You were still on your Diamondback.
Yeah, it might have been Camp Eagle or something.
Okay.
Yeah, or Shred Eagle.
Yeah.
Shortly after y'all left, I cased hard and bent a wheel. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
It's an expensive thing.
Yeah. And then I got Cushcore after that. I'm sorry, Vittoria Airliner. I give them a shout out because that's been a good.
I switched to Vittoria Airliner before I had the Huck Norris. And
okay.
That was okay. Obviously, it was more down to cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was okay. And then I didn't want to go to Cushcore because Cushcore, it just looks like a bitch to if you had to do it on the trail. It looks like it would be a bitch to deal with. So for maintenance options, I referred to Crossroads, and they were try this Vittoria Airliner. So I just put one in the back.
Yeah.
And I was that's where all my stuff's going.
Yeah.
But then I did a race, and I remember because I only run 18 psi on my front tire.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember kind of being cautious on one of the races because I was afraid that my front tire was gonna buckle, and then I was just gonna go TB. And then it occurred to me as I was going down on one of the stages, I was like, that's why they wear a fucking they have a some type of protection in the. I can't think right now. It's the airliner or
The inserts.
Inserts. Thank you.
There you go.
See, that's why you guys are here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why they run inserts. So after that race, I put one in.
Yeah.
But I had the airliners.
So was this pre-pivot or post?
The airliner I got with the pivot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you run in front and back now?
Now I run front.
Yeah.
and back.
I've been wanting to do that also, just because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I'm not agreeing with you.
No, like,
yeah,
sometimes I just get too comfortable. Like lately, just because like we've been running so much weird stuff. Like it's just.
Also, like I have horrible line choice, and I don't feel like. I feel like my insert has bailed me out of a lot of things that would have really damaged.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, and that's another reason I got it, because I got 2 wheels built because my pivot was on hold for a while because they pivot didn't have a wheel set. I think it was a TT Swiss wheels that they were coming with, and for with everything, the backup of because of everyone going outside riding because of Rona and everything else, and then which is a good thing, I think, not Rona, but the other part of it, like people getting outside, outdoors and stuff, and various disciplines of being outdoors. But I was like, fuck it, let's just build some wheels. So I had some Spank 359s. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, but I had those built up, and so yeah, I'm like, I should put some airliners because I don't want to.
Yeah, man.
It's an expensive thing to bend.
It is. I mean, it cost me a rim this year, so, but that's a different that's just from riding in San Antonio too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Angel Fire. I think it's just really good to ride a bike park, especially when you're used to riding in Texas, where like berms don't hold you because they're super crumbly. Even if you go to Spider, like the berms are not like the best.
Right.
For like ripping it.
Yeah, over there, Angel Fire, they're like fucking.
Man, they're huge. The only thing that we learned was like if you want to enjoy the berms, you have to go there. May, like the day the park opens, you want to go there in the first month. For that part of it. But then we asked other people, because like I was kind of curious to see what other people thought about it that have been going there for a long time, and we were just saying like, dude, it's a blast whether you come here in the beginning or you come here in the end. The beauty about coming here closer to the end of the season is that you get to ride as much as you want.
Right.
And in the beginning of the season it's just hella crowded.
I think the most people we ran into was probably like maybe 30, like on its busiest day.
On a Friday, dude.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like
30 people, that's it?
Like, I think, dude, it was mostly locals. But like Monday through, because we rode 4 days. We rode Monday, Tuesday, we took Wednesday off, and then we rode Thursday, Friday. And Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, like, dead.
Damn.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, because we're supposed to go from the 8th, well, I think technically we would be there on the 9th. 8th is a travel day, through the 12th. And we're going to do the bike park. We're also going to do the South Boundary and then a couple of other things. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, taking the.
I'm looking for. Did y'all ride South Boundary when you were there last time?
No.
Okay.
I didn't. I mean.
We heard like that was the most recommended thing while we were there.
Really?
Like
Yeah, it looks like a bitch.
Yeah.
But because you have to come prepared for whatever it is, 2 or 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours of riding, whatever it is. So you have to prepare. I would suggest preparing like at least a tube or two, depending on how big your group is, and then like just like a couple tools. But yeah, it's cool, man.
But I think it's an IMBA Epic Trail. I've never ridden one. I think Back 40 in Arkansas was another one that was while I was in Bentonville was highly recommended, but I was there by myself. I was like, by flat, it's going to be kind of really... It was my last day, and that's kind of what we ran into. Like, the only day that... We originally were going to ride 5 days, and then Jerry was smart enough to be like, this is stupid, like, we're going to die. And so we took Wednesday off, got some rest, and that was the day. If we were going to do South Boundary, that was the day we were going to do it. And it was just like, don't feel like doing that. Was it 3 miles of... It's a crawl uphill. It's nothing, like, crazy, but you have to work for it. But, it's something like 19 miles of relatively active descent.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, but lots of people were recommending it.
Nice. So. Yeah, like I was looking forward to it this time, just because I didn't get to do it last time, and I was like, if I had my choice, like if I had to do the bike park, obviously I want to do the bike park, but I want to also do something I haven't done before.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're going to be able to like squeeze that in as well.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely cool.
Really looking forward to hearing about it from somebody that actually likes to go fast and do some kind of crazy stuff. So.
And then I'm also taking, I have a drone that we're going to take with us. So yeah, at least I just don't know how I'm going to pack it because I don't have a bag that you can, because the
bag is huge.
Yeah, it doesn't collapse. like the DJI or whatever.
Yeah.
So I got to figure that out. But anyways, yeah, and then I know about the climbing part because I went to Colorado a month and a half ago.
Oh man.
Oh, we're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, Carbondale, and the way up fucking sucked. Dude. I was like, I think I want an e-bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's 1,800 or something like that feet of just like riding up, and then you get up there, and then it's like, all right, I'm tired.
Yeah. I only did luckily I met up with some locals there, and they showed me around a little bit. I did like 2 or 3 trails like up there and on the way down, but it was already at the end of the day. It was kind of like, I don't know if it was the day I traveled there or the day that but anyways, I got there and it was already like 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was like, I just don't want to be sitting here in the house, so I just want to go explore. And I ended up doing Prince Creek, and that was pretty badass. You get to go over a car. It's called Monte Carlo, and I guess
that's right. That's what it is. Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Actually, I'm working on that video right now. But so what else did as far as trail building? Like, is there anything you guys picked up there while you were there?
Not really.
It's just like it's yes and no. I mean, we realize like the difference in a bike park and the difference in features and stuff at a place that has a massive crew, and the ability to maintain those things. So it kind of, opened our eyes to like a perfect scenario and like something that is very like, ideal. And, but we also don't have access to the dirt or,
I think that was the main thing. Like, you travel from Texas by car, right? From here to Angel Fire. You can't throw a shovel in the dirt without hearing a cling. That's rock.
Limestone.
Rock. I mean, dude, over there, like, you can dig wherever you want.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I think that's the biggest problem with building trail in Texas. Like, you have to find the right spot where you can actually have at least 2 feet to play with dirt. Because we're in San Antonio. Can you get elevation and dirt at the same time? Like, like, you look at everywhere where houses are being built on hills and stuff. Like, they're carving out just solid rock. They're not. It's not like loamy stuff. Like, if you go to Parkwood, that's why Parkwood is such a pain in the ass to maintain for anybody. Because you have to like transplant the dirt from somewhere else.
And then a rain comes in, like a big storm comes in and just washes it.
Yeah, and then people try putting like dirt that's not even native to that's native to Parkwood, but it's not native to the berm, for example, and it just doesn't go together, and it just keeps washing out over the year or over the weeks or months. I think that's the biggest problem with trail building. I mean, obviously, number of people available to trail build, but also like nobody's gonna put in like, oh, let me get $1,000 of sand and throw it at like this property that's not mine.
Right.
So yeah.
And you spend all that time initially putting into it, and then you don't feel like maintaining it because other people are riding it. Storms come in, and then like, all right, well now this is trash, and I feel like everything I invested into this was kind of, worthless because nobody wants to help get that back to where it was because it's, a storm or two comes through and it's, back to complete.
Just like right now, like we haven't been to Parkwood, but we've heard nothing but like it's destroyed. Like that's what everybody tells us. It's pretty much like it's completely washed.
Just back to back rains this season.
Yeah. We've had a lot of rain this
season. Yeah. And like it's really good for the community and everything. I mean, for everything else, but for San Antonio trails, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to Mac, and then the Mac jumps are like probably like a foot lower than what they were. I mean, you go. I'm sure Salado is just as fine because Salado is just rock surfing. Yeah, you're rock surfing there, so nothing's gonna happen there. But the features that are built are definitely like struggling.
So I think like the biggest thing that maybe like this San Antonio mountain bike community could benefit from is building like realistic, sustainable kind of features and trails, like planning for the future, and the fact that all right, let's build something that isn't going to take a lot of maintenance, that will be rideable for a while. It's not going to be the coolest or the biggest, but also the bigger, cooler things you build, the bigger team it takes, the more time it takes, and people don't want to fix that. Like, as we've learned, like Parkwood at one point was really dope and had some really cool features, but you know, they need a lot of love, and you know, we don't have the people to really, you know.
Yeah, even with a group of 5 people, like you can only do like a section of Parkwood.
Right.
You can't do the whole thing.
How's that one berm holding up, the one we worked on with the logs and stuff?
That was actually, that was something that I felt like we built something that we used the dirt that was there. We didn't transplant anything. We didn't stack it up or build anything. I haven't been back in a little while.
Right.
But that line itself was running pretty well until like that second set of heavy rains came.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm talking. Like, we used what was there.
Right.
Just moved a tiny bit of dirt, moved sticks out of the way, and that's what was working. And it was a fun kind of like, you know, techie, fast trail.
I really like that line. Like, it has a little bit of everything. Like, I don't know. It flowed. Once it got like set, it was nice. But I haven't been back there either to do that line as well. Like, either.
And I agree. That was like one of the most fun like trails that I've ridden at Parkway.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little partial because I, you know, kind of helped revitalize it. I'm sure it was there before, you know, we messed with it.
Right.
But it was very different from everything that was there previously. But it's also very low maintenance. You know what I mean? Because we utilized kind of the natural water flow, kind of, you know, going that was there and stuff. So.
I got you. And then you also have like the other elements, like, you know, people from the neighborhood coming in and destroying stuff, or like kids or whatever. Because I know Redbird Ranch that happened to, like, there's some kids just went in and destroyed like the ramps that they built up, and like literally like just broke them apart. Yeah. And then they knew who the kids were, but they couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
So it's just kind of,
because it's like private or public. Actually, that's private property, right?
I think it's private. But I think they just sold some stuff, so I mean, it's that's the big thing that's a bitch about Texas in general, is because everything's either privatized or like it's you know,
somebody owns it.
Public, you have to go to the city or whatever. So,
and it's not like mountain bikers aren't revered in this, you know, kind of they're bringing tons of money and they're great for the community in Texas, like they are, you know, way up north, where people are usually cool with mountain bikers on their land because they bring in money to the you know, area. In Texas, we're kind of just like, oh yeah, it's just some dude on a bike, and I don't want them on my land. I don't want anything to do with them. You know? So it's just.
Yeah, and it's pretty frustrating, especially you know, with this new resurgence. I mean, I've only been in the mountain biking scene for the past, you know, since 18, since I retired, and but I've seen it like grow exponentially within these past few years. And it seems like the support is there now, where, you know, like Kyle Kinnaman and stuff, he went to the meeting, where he's trying to, you know, do something official, and then try to, you know, help Storm, try to raise money. And it's unfortunate, not in the sense of like, but that we have to go through a bureaucracy to get what we want. But at the same time, it's like, this is the game we got to play. But at the same time, it's almost like, you almost need to hedge your bets as well, you know, as far as like, you still want to kind of build stuff in the meantime, even though you're not supposed to. But either way, it's kind of like, we're trying to progress as well, and it's just like that happy medium. Like 700 acres, I don't know if you guys ever been there. Yeah, like this, like city finally took that over, and they destroyed all the ramps and stuff like that. So
most of the ramps.
Most of the ramps, yeah. I saw that today. It was like most of the ramps are destroyed.
Yeah, but even like the Alamo Heights crew, those group of kids that built that little bike park, the city came in and bulldozed that flat. You know,
they bulldozed it flat.
Bulldozed it like
Well, all you had to do is just squish the ramps.
So that's
because they were so badly made.
I was trying to figure out why they laughed. When I was like, I didn't know Alamo Heights had like a.
Yeah, it only lasted like a month. I think we went there once, and dude, like we didn't even. I don't think we even took the. I don't know if we had our bikes or not with us.
I think we had the dirt jumpers.
When we didn't even care to take the dirt jumpers. Oh, no, we did. We rode a couple features, but it was janky.
But even it's even that's discouraging, because that was something that actually had support from a lot of parents in Alamo Heights. You know, relatively wealthy. You know,
they're on KSAT and
stuff. Dude, they brought out KSAT. They got a news segment on it and everything. And then like a month later, like the city came in and just. It's just hard to, you know, garnish support for kind of, you know, faster, bigger jumps and drops and stuff in San Antonio when, you know, Storm has access to making that happen, but historically hasn't been, super supportive of building kind of more progressive.
And it's kind of like that the older regime, but the newer regime.
Right. I think there's only.
It's like, why is the audio so shitty? Check 1 2. All right.
We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right, it's recording. All right, cool.
All right, so you were talking about like how the community is not supportive, and they had KSAT 12 out there.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the little kids. Like, honestly, I'm glad they took that down because, well, like in the most like sour way possible. It's just that those ramps weren't really built for people jumping on them.
Oh, so they were like pretty sketchy.
They were very sketchy, man. Like we wouldn't hit. Like I know back in the day we weren't that much of a. I guess we wouldn't take that many risks back then. But still, dude, I was like...
They would work for 11-year-old kids who weigh like 80 pounds.
Yeah, 80 pound with like a 10-pound bike or something like that would be perfectly fine. But if somebody like...
But some of the homies we see at OP, like, that wouldn't last too long.
Yeah.
But it was a good try. I mean, I think it inspired us to like, kind of, people really want something.
Right. I mean, the fact that they attempted that in that neighborhood was admirable. It's like...
Because it's a very snobby neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because there are like giant, glaring markers all over the community of a want for bigger,
Yeah, so I mean, and that's one thing. If you get the parents on board, and then the parents have networking, especially in that neighborhood, it's pretty well off in that neighborhood, and I'm pretty sure they have connections within the city, and if we can. Kind of all get moving in the same direction, and like I talked about this before, but San Antonio, like its main industry is tourism.
Right.
So and I'm pretty sure we're not going to be the first ones talking on this, but take the template of Bentonville, apply it here, put the city behind it with the funding, and then that will just increase. Not only like it would benefit the city health wise, you work like in medical, so I'm pretty sure you see a lot of like the health of the city like more than than most. So you get that aspect of it. Yeah, there's going to be like some negative parts where people break their arm or whatever, or hurt themselves.
Right.
But you just sit on the couch and do nothing, then that's equally as bad, if not worse. Because at least with mountain biking, you progress, you get better, you start crashing less. Yeah.
And you keep doing it. And that's the thing. Like you keep doing it, you keep working out, you keep getting, it's like staying off the couch time. Like it's all good.
Yeah. And not only that, it has other benefits. Like endorphins and
stress reliever,
outside stress reliever,
depression. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely positive, more positive than negative, I feel.
Yeah. I just what I'm kind of wondering is because in Bentonville it took the Walton family, kind of spearheading that movement, millions of dollars to get that going, and then Bentonville was like, oh, this is a great idea,
right?
I hope that San Antonio will get on board, with us.
It's gonna take I think it's gonna take a corporation to do it. Like it's gonna take not to be like Walmart over there, HEB over here, but like something like that, like a big ass family that can buy, or a big ass company that can buy a big ass lot and just do whatever they want with it. Yeah. Because I think that's like the main the main thing that's stopping the progression of the mountain biking community is that we're trying to do it on specific land that's available to everybody. I think that's a problem. Like we should be approaching it, or I guess whoever has the money and the funds and all that stuff should be approaching it in the sense of, no, we need to like build our own. Like it needs to start here. We need to make it a thing, and then this would it'll start trickling down onto the trails. Like, because then people are going to notice it, like, oh yeah, people do want to jump. Oh, people are better at jumping. That's the problem with jumping in San Antonio, I feel like, or learning how to jump. It's like, you don't have anywhere to practice.
That's true.
Like, you don't have any, like...
at least a series of jumps. Yeah, I mean, you have your...
Or like official places to practice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like, where name the best ramp in San Antonio. It's in the back of my pickup truck. Yeah. The mountain bike, like the MTB hopper. Like honestly, like that one's awesome because you never have to maintain it. You never have to change. Like it's always the same pitch. It's always gonna feel the same. We don't have anything in San Antonio that's built like that. Everything in San Antonio is super wonky, and I mean I love it obviously because it's like it's what's helped us progress. But we don't have something that's just like easy for anybody to hit. easy for somebody to progress on, like starting from like the small, like the one that Ron has, like the little yellow hopper, or the one that was at the race. We need jumps like that, and just like all over not all over the city, but like maybe instead of having that skills park at McAllister that doesn't really do anything.
Right.
I mean, maybe for kids on strider bikes, but still, like, that's still sketchy. If your kid is on a strider bike on that thing, on those things, why not just set like a couple little tables? Like,
But I don't know. I haven't looked too far into the plans because I don't want to be disappointed. But I've heard what's projected to go in at the golf course next to Opie Schnabel is supposed to be a decent bit more intense and with some proper jumps and stuff. I do think the pump tracks are awesome. But I don't want, the associated parties who helped develop that to feel like, oh, this is enough. All right, we're addressing the interest of the people that want bigger things with these 2 pump tracks, and this.
Right.
So I'm not getting my hopes up because I'm ready to be disappointed, if that makes sense, with what they're planning.
So you're just kind of preparing yourself for disappointment just in case.
Yeah.
Now I know that they're. Because I follow them on Instagram, Storm, and they're putting an IMBA. They got an IMBA bid in, I think, in Eisenhower Park. I might be checking that.
Yeah, you're right.
They have something going. So there's like 4 things in the works right now that are projected. Unfortunately, like I was in acquisition with my last unit. That's one of the things I did was acquisitions, and you had to like project out money for like, especially when the city you only have so much money. And then you have to like, it was kind of strange because you're like, we need to know what you're gonna buy like 4 years from now. Like, fucking, like, all right, yeah, like and I was.
I'll be right back. Let me build a time machine.
Yeah, exactly. Because the requirements change and everything, but that's kind of how it was, and it's kind of the same thing with this. Is especially like if you have people sitting on the city council or whatever, they're not mountain bikers, and they don't know, like they're not even aware. Like I grew up in San Antonio. And I wasn't even aware, like, all the way up to, like, 18 and I left. But I wasn't even aware that, like, San Antonio had trails.
Right.
Because of my exposure, my limited exposure, I should say. So if you take that same, a lot of people in San Antonio are probably not aware. I don't want to say a lot of people, but if you're not in the know, you're just not in the know.
No, definitely, dude.
And, so
a lot of people don't even know that you can mountain bike in San Antonio.
Yeah, and... even when I first started, that was the first thing people would tell me, like, mountain biking, there's no mountains here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, well, there's other stuff you could ride. It doesn't have to be a mountain.
Doesn't have to be a mountain.
Yeah, but it's taking people out of that mindset and then, like, taking them to the trails. It's almost like there needs to be, like, some type of, I don't know. You know how, like, you ever heard of, like, a dog and pony show? Like, where you kind of, like, show what you're capable of or whatever, but it almost like the city needs to see that, like the decision makers need to see, like, I don't know, either start mountain biking or start doing more research or understanding more, but they're not going to do that, and if they only have so much money to go around, and people have their pet projects, and they're like, no, we don't need to do that. And it's just really bringing awareness to it, really.
And I think if anything, like now is the prime time to do it because of how much money San Antonio has lost during COVID.
Yeah.
So we are, hurting for money as far as tourism dollars go. And so I think, if there's any ideal time to kind of make that pitch to, the people who could help, get that going, things are maybe looking up.
Yeah.
As far as,
I really feel that they are, and I believe that's why Alcal is trying to, take the people he coaches, as well as like bringing in the parents and whoever else, and is just trying to kind of move that ball forward and just try to push that like huge ball, like, in that direction to kind of get the momentum going and get everyone on board to try to do that, because I think this is I feel like this is the height. Maybe I'm just I'm so new to this that I'm not aware of how long it's been around, like this movement, if you will. But I do feel that this is the prime time, and like going back to COVID and what have you, that, I mean, based off of the research that at least I've read, is like it's that's why people are going outdoors, because it doesn't spread as much outdoors as it does indoors. I mean, unless you're talking to someone like face to face outside.
Yeah.
And there's a number of reasons for that. I don't really want to get into that.
Right.
But yeah, I do feel like that is the direction to go, and it will bring back, you know, like lodging or hotels.
Yeah.
You know, people like visiting, like let's say they're here because we have a lot of military bases here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And if people are aware of that, they'll probably bring their bikes, or they bring family, or people visiting. They can, you know, it's like another thing to do as opposed to just Fiesta, Texas, and like SeaWorld, which is kind of going downhill.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you know what I mean? Like Blackfish kind of jacked up. You know what I mean? They brought awareness to that, and people were like, "Oh shit."
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with SeaWorld.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually paid to go to SeaWorld.
I don't think I've ever. Yeah, me neither, dude. I think I went once in high school because we had to go. And then I was like,
for environmental science or something.
Yeah, like
the most backwards.
This is how we mistreat our animals.
Yeah.
Dance, dolphin.
But yeah, like you were saying, it would bring a lot of revenue to the city, like the restaurants and small businesses, you know, taco trucks.
Yeah.
They set up at trailheads and stuff like that. One of the things I kind of always go back to, I went mountain biking like 4 or 5 times when I was in Germany.
Oh wow.
And one thing that was badass about that was that you could like ride on all these trails through all these small villages, and you would come out on a trail, and there would be like an imbis or a restaurant right there. You put your bike up, have like a radler or a beer or whatever, and have something to eat, keep going, and then you would stop at the next, you know, like I don't know, 10, 15 miles away, and there'd be another one. You do the same thing or not, you know, use a restroom. But it was so ingrained into the culture, just kind of like, you know, Pacific Northwest, Canada.
Yeah.
In San Antonio, that's not really, it's just not ingrained in the culture, so it's going to be a little bit harder to push. But at the same time, if we can open the eyes of people, then we could bring that same thing, and then it would bring like businesses. Like, I don't know how many times I stopped off on the trail, I'm like, somebody could put a restaurant right here.
Yeah.
Dude, right? And you know what's the funniest thing? Like, when you realize that San Antonio is not even like is not aware of how many mountain bikers there are. If you want to go have a beer with a mountain biker, instead of going to like the mountain biking spot, like the mountain biking bar, we go to Crossroads.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying like I hate going to Crossroads. Obviously, I spend a lot of time there. I love going there. But like, there's no, like, imagine just setting up a bar for all the mountain bikers.
Or like a brewery that, you know, sends 5% of their, you know, proceeds to developing trail or something.
You go to the south side and you got La Tuna down there. La Tuna is like, you know, the mecca for all the single speed and all the city riders. But there's nothing like that for mountain biking. I'm not saying like we need one, but it just kind of just shows you that the community as a whole is not that even that well put together.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you build it, they will come. But at the same time, it's like we need to convince the people that make the decisions to build it or help us build it, and then like, it will come, because eventually, like, I don't know, you just look at the market and you can't even get a bike now. It's like hard to get a bike. It's hard to get parts, and that's for a number of different reasons. But a lot of it is because the demand has gone so high right away.
Especially for the demand. And like I said, I just don't think that there's like there's a community like on the internet and it's around, but as far as like being
publicly like present,
there's not. And there was a huge ride today, for example. I know I saw on Facebook like probably like a 15 group. Like we only got to hang out with a couple of them, like Tom and them. But there were like 15 of them that were riding today. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I didn't even know. Like, I mean, not to say
that's part of it.
Yeah, it's because I get on Facebook and it's like I check. It's like email for me. Yeah, you know, I go and I check my notifications because I really don't post on my personal page.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I have a lot of stuff to say, but it's just kind of like, it's, I don't know. It's just kind of like I'd rather just kind of focus on mountain biking right now. You know, it's kind of like wait and see approach with a lot of stuff. But I just need to get better at checking because that's the only place you could find out.
Really, and it's like, and it's bad because, well, it's not bad. It's just, it's not optimal because Facebook, at least right now, has been getting a lot of like, it's just not as fun for a lot of people. to open Facebook. I feel like just because like then there's like it's not just you go there for mountain biking, then you also get bombarded by all the information from everybody else who you don't really care about.
Like somebody you went to high school with having babies you don't care about.
Or stuff like that, or something.
Like your 10th baby.
Yeah, or like somebody by yelling something from the left and somebody yelling from the right, and then having fights, and then you're just looking at that and you're just like,
I'm just trying to find out when the next group ride is.
Facebook fight.
Yes, exactly. So I know a lot of people who just like, you know, from all ages that don't have Facebook just because of that. So almost like as if there needs to be like a hub where we can connect outside of Facebook.
Right.
We use Instagram all the time for Show Local, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But that seems to work pretty okay. We're not into like huge group rides or anything like that. We don't even ride trail pretty much.
We're getting better.
We're getting better, but we definitely session a lot, and that works pretty well. Like sometimes we get 2 people, sometimes we get 5. Like
that's better than I do, because every time I post something, like it's like crickets. I'm like,
no, today was crickets.
Yeah, today was crickets, but I mean people like 6 people drove by, and because like we try to host a very chill environment. They want to hang out. Like everybody that showed up, with the exception of Alex, didn't hit the ramp, but they still hung out for like 30 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just kind of like the environment we're shooting for, and that's what we wish. Like we want people to enjoy being around each other. Right. We're all here to have a good time on a bicycle.
And that's what I am too. Like whenever I ride, like today, I think people have. I mean, I'm generalizing here. But I feel that people, maybe because I do race, they feel like I'm gonna like just haul ass and leave them behind. But like today we were riding, and I called a buddy of mine, James, and then my wife. We went riding today, and we kind of just go with the flow. You know what I mean? And we ran into, not physically, but we just ran into a family. It was a dad and their 2 sons. Maybe they're like, you know, teenagers. And the dad, he was military. He just got stationed here, but he was like, hey, do you guys know where these trails go? And I was just like, you're more than welcome to follow us if you want. And you could tell at first he was like, I don't want to hold you guys back. And I was like, no, like for real, like I really enjoy doing it. Like I enjoy taking people around, and I would slow down. I would tell them like, hey, if you guys need to stop, let me know. If you guys need water, let me know. I just really enjoy being outside on the trails. Yeah. And then I'll kind of go, like if they want to go faster, I'll go faster. We go slower, we go slower. And that's kind of like even Flat Rock, same thing. If people want to chill under a tree for a minute, I'll chill and hang out and just fucking look at whatever. Joke, mess around, you know what I mean? Talk shit to people. Yeah. That's me, but I don't know. And that's what I'm trying to set up group rides like during the week on TDTP Texas. I try to do a group ride during the week, and it's like hit or miss. We had some rains, and then I had some stuff pop up where I had to. I couldn't do the group rides for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, but like specific reasons. So I wasn't able to do them, but I'm trying to do them like during the work week to kind of break up the week for anybody. And I was trying to do them like on Wednesday or Thursday, like evenings, like around 6. There's usually a ride, and I'm also trying to do it like at either Mac. Like I'm trying to do it at different places each week to kind of give people different exposure. Yeah. So like Mac, LCG, and like Flat Rock, because lately I just like I want to go to Flat Rock like around 6 o'clock. That way we're riding. And maybe it's hippie should be in the afternoon.
Oh, I was gonna say
like, see the sunset go down. You know?
Oh, dude, hell yeah, man! Sick, you know? Are you kidding me? It's like the best part about like
being out there.
Yeah, and that late, like we were.
And you're not sweating your ass off.
You're not sweating your ass off. We were like, I don't know, like I think we both appreciate nature like at that level too. I mean, shit, we were at Angel Fire and just sitting there until like the sun went down. It was like the dopest thing.
Half the best part about being an Angel Fire is just sitting outside in the morning drinking coffee and just like chilling outside. You know?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and I feel that like that's a very common thing. Most people, I don't say most people are writing, but when they've been doing it for a while, they kind of start appreciating those things. When I speak for myself, I don't speak for y'all. But before I didn't really do that, it was just kind of like, I got somewhere to be, I got to do this, got to do that, and it was just kind of go. Yeah. And when I kind of started like mountain biking, you know, it's just kind of, it taught me how to slow down, you know, and just kind of appreciate stuff. I started like looking and seeing trash on the trails. I was like, oh, that's fucked up. That's messed up, but whatever, you know. But I was like, I'm putting it in my pocket, you know.
I got to put my Strava time in.
Dude, I downloaded Strava, but I always forget to turn it on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've
so.
ever. I did it once on the Greenbelt.
Yeah.
Or on the Leon Creek a couple of times on my road bike. Outside of that.
Yeah, but I don't ever turn it on, and like it's just not something I do. And then people are like, how do you train? I'm like, I train without training.
Yeah.
They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, when I'm by myself or when I'm riding with somebody else, I just like do like sprints. You know what I mean? Between two sections, I'll haul ass and try to work on, turning the bike or pushing down on like, compressing the bike. I can't think of it right now, but just trying to get in the flow and I try to work on the little things, my breathing, cadence, all that stuff. But I don't do it like officially where I'm like, oh, today I'm gonna go train. I'm gonna do this. I gotta do this.
Yeah, because then it gets boring.
Yeah, it becomes a job.
I mean, that's me from my point of view.
Right.
But
no, I get it.
I think that's kind of like when we talk about racing, like that's why we don't race.
And that's why I didn't want to get into racing.
Yeah.
So since we're kind of already getting into racing,
do
you guys plan to do any races this year?
You bought a ticket, right?
I bought a ticket, but I think I'm gonna donate it to somebody because Shred Eagle is in a couple weeks, and I'm leaving on Friday, so I'm not gonna be able to make it. I think if anything, I'll catch the tail end of the Enduro series, or like at the end of the year. I might come back for that.
Nice.
Because that's November, December. So I think I'll hit that for sure. But as far as racing, I mean, I did my first race last Friday.
Oh, yeah. The cyclocross race,
cyclocross race. Man, I was like, dude, I'm glad I didn't have a chip, or I don't know if they even give you chips or what,
No.
but like I didn't have a number or anything. I'm like, that's cool. Like I just came here to support, everybody who passed me. Like
and that's what my thing was too. Is just like on some level, I was kind of like, this course is so easy. There's not like there's some technical stuff. But at the same time, it was just like, I'm just here for fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the competitive nature of me kind of kicked in, and I was just like, all right, well, I just want to finish the race. And then, but I was getting my ass kicked, dude.
Yeah.
Like, for real, because you're pedaling for at least 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah. And then you have, like, these obstacles. I forgot what they're calling them. Like, but the
little steps.
Yeah, the little steps you got to go up on, and then, like, the gradual climbs, and I had like freaking downhill casing on my front tire.
Oh man.
My rear tire has another downhill
Dude,
casing.
you know what I noticed today? I was running on like 15 to 17 psi on my tires, and I was fully open for like the first beginning of the race. So like my suspension was fully open, everything was fully open. So I was,
working against yourself.
But it's okay. Like I don't care. Like it's not an excuse because like at the same time, like I know I'm not in shape.
Right.
For sure, I'm not in shape for racing. But I had a great time. Like I think it was all worth it. Like seeing everybody there. Like that was fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. The energy was really cool. I've never been in a cyclocross race.
Yeah,
I
me
didn't
neither.
really know what cyclocross was.
Yeah.
I saw like a YouTube video, a couple of them before I went, and there was like pro stuff, and I was just like, that's crazy. Got small tires, and it looked like it could be fun, but I would just do it. And I'm glad I did it because it definitely humbled the shit out of me.
Dude.
It made me appreciate what cyclocross is.
Dude, seeing those kids race that fast.
Yeah.
Just to be blown away by Micah.
Micah's a
He's a
machine.
beast, dude. Before he started, I forgot who I was telling. I was like, I got $5 on Micah.
Really?
Like before he even started.
I didn't even see him until he was racing. I was like, oh shit. Because we always see him. Oh, back in the day, we used to always see him at Mac, but he would just be like,
He'd be literally blowing past us. Hey guys.
Like 30 yards away, like you hear like the Doppler effect, whatever. Like he's just like,
man.
But that was crazy, man. Like if I was a kid that was wearing had that pink Specialized or whatever, man, I'd be pissed. Like, cause he was like in it to win it for the whole thing.
Yeah.
He still came like in first in his like section or whatever. But man, Micah kicked fucking ass.
Yeah.
On a full suspension, like.
Yeah, it was a cross country bike, but still, it wasn't a cyclocross bike. Yeah. Because that's one thing I noticed. Like I would pass people on the small like downs and like the turns, but as soon as the straightaways, it was like I was like going to pass, and I'm like trying to like go or whatever, but
yeah, I'm I haven't been in any sort of race whatsoever, but I'm hoping my first one, to be Shred Eagle coming up. But you raced last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you feel about it?
The Shred Eagle race?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time I did it with the Shred Eagle, which was Victory Racing. I was on Diamondback. And I wasn't in the shape that I thought I was in. And the pre-race, I was like literally questioning, like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, what are you thinking? What do you have to prove? Like, all these like negative demons were coming in my head, and it started raining. My rear tire locked up, and I'm like, my bike, I didn't realize how heavy, but it was heavy, and it had all this, like, my front and rear tire were just caked in, like, you know, this clay mud, you know, they have here in Texas. And I'm like just walking to the top, just trying to like focus on like keeping my world small with every step. And I get to the top, and like thankfully, like it was like coming down, and the shuttle was going by, and I didn't have my race thing, but you know, they were nice enough, like, hey, do you need I was like, yes, please. And I'm all winded. My derailleur, like, I bent my derailleur hanger because I crashed like twice. So it was like a bad day, and I was even questioning, like, and then my dumbass, I don't know what I was thinking, and it was part of like partially my ego, and then the other thing, like, if I'm gonna race, I want to like compete with the best or whatever. And it wasn't me like fully respecting or appreciating the sport, so I did it like in like the pro series. Yeah, I did pro, and like people pulled out of it, so I ended up placing third by default. But at the same time, like, I learned so much from that race, and that Camp Eagle on its own is it's probably like the most technical, gnarliest place around here. And I'm not trying to discourage you, but it's definitely a must do, and it's definitely like Angel Fire. It's going to teach you a lot of different stuff about yourself. But one of the biggest things I learned from that race, and when I broke my hand, I shortly thereafter, was to just keep the race between the tape. You know what I mean? Just do your race. You get a timing chip. You go. They usually give you like 2 or 3 minutes of lead time before the next guy. So you go, and then you just try to get done and then if they catch you, just get out of the way and let them go by. But that's the biggest thing is make sure to take like, and that's when I started doing the clip blocks. I started doing like clip bars. I would have them in my hip pack, and plenty of water and stuff like that. And within time, your body, it's crazy because your body starts to acclimate to learning how to ride with less water. So I was able to get to the point where, not in that race, but over the next few races, where I can just do it with a water bottle. You know what I mean? And before, I was just like sucking water, like I was going out of style, you know. And yeah, it's dating myself right there, but. Yeah, I mean, but they're fun. The community's like, it's really fun, like, afterwards, because you kind of have like this shared experience with everyone, and like everyone's just tired, and they're talking about the different stages, and like you're kind of laughing at each other.
I think that makes it all worth it.
It does, and then you're camping, and like it's just a really good time, man.
I love camping.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know, and we.
Hey, boss, I quit.
I quit. I'm just gonna be a professional racer now, but. No, man, it's really fun, and it's I don't know, it's made me appreciate it more, because when I was going into it, I really didn't know what to expect, and I thought, I was like, I didn't want to start racing because I had the misconception that like it's gonna take the fun out of it. It's gonna become like a job. It's gonna become.
But it's its very own. It's its own thing.
It can, but it all depends on your mindset approaching it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're stressed out and you're trying to like be number one, and like. That's fine. I'm not like talking shit about anybody, but you got to put the work in, right? It's like with anything. But if you understand, it's my first race. I'm just gonna try to survive the thing. I'm gonna try to have fun and try to keep the race in between the tape. It changes everything. Because at that race, I let the pressure of me racing pro get to me, because I'm like, I'm in a different class. I gotta like compete. I gotta push harder. I gotta do all these things, all these misconceptions that I thought. And I just forgot how to have fun. You know, I didn't know about just keeping it between the tape. I didn't know about any of that stuff, and I definitely didn't have the skills that I thought I did. But it humbled the shit out of me, and I'm glad I did it. If I had to do it over again, I would, because I just learned so much from that about myself mainly.
Yeah.
So you have to do it now.
Yeah, I mean, I will.
Yeah, man.
My biggest thing is like I think I've ridden trail maybe 3 times in the last year.
Yeah.
That was outside of Parkwood, so it's just. I'm going in, I need to remind myself that I'm setting extremely low expectations for myself.
Yeah, and you should. Just because it's a realistic expectation. Like if
you're gonna suck, and you have to be okay with
You
that.
have to be okay with sucking.
I think you're lying though.
That's on the pink bike video.
I think the reality is that you don't want to camp.
Oh,
now, if you want to, they have like at Camp Eagle, they have hardened facilities you can stay in, and it's pretty much like a dorm room, like where there's like a bunch of beds. Yeah, but I mean it's pretty pricey though. I think it was like 12 beds or 13 beds, and there's like you have to take your own like microwave. You have to take your like anything you're gonna cook with. You have to take. It's just pretty much a room with a shower.
It pretty much sounds like camping.
It's like glamping, you know.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good time, and Seth, he's definitely the races he does are definitely fun. Mm-hmm. There's usually like music afterwards.
Is Seth Buckner running this one too?
Yeah, he's running that, and he's actually out there building trails right now. I think there's going to be a couple new lines this year.
Oh yeah.
So but a lot of the ones that were existing are pretty gnarly and pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
That's cool. So, was it a great first race venue? Like,
what do you mean, for him or? Like,
was that your first?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
My first race was actually at Bandera, and that's kind of where I got the race bug.
Wow.
Yeah, it was before like they closed down or whatever.
Yeah, I never got to hit it.
Yeah. That one was pretty cool. There was a lot of potential there, but I mean, I'll just say what it is. Like, the owner he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and it kind of just. If you don't have the support from the top in any organization, then it's gonna go to shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of what happened. And I don't know all the details and like what was said or who was said, but I just know that was the kind of general consensus from a lot of people that were either working there and building trails or stuff like that. So, but that place was pretty badass. I mean, they had like tree gaps and tree jumps.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got a video from that race, and it was pretty damn fun. I was on my Diamondback, but that's kind of why I got the racing bug, and I had a lot of fun because it was, and that was shoulder supported too. So that's gonna help you. You don't have to, worry about like hiking your bike. You're probably still gonna have to do it in some places, but it definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's important, especially for this area, because it gets a lot of new racers like racing, because it's shoulder supported. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, it's a good time though. So Shred, tell me a little, like, how did Shred Local start, or like what?
So
what's the genesis of that?
I started it. Well, it was before it was Shred Local. It was Alamo City MTB, and it was just an idea that I had over the summer. Last summer COVID hit. Was doing nothing but mountain biking here and there, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll start something, and maybe I'll go somewhere. Did my own like designs, did my own logos, did my just started filming here and there, started making like little memes here and there, and then that was it. Like I went to Carbondale also. I was in Carbondale last year, and I hit Moab last year also. So I was like, I got good footage. I'll put that on there. I'll make it attractive, and it started picking up like quite a bit of like followers and stuff like that. Nothing crazy, just like 100, 200 followers in like a month or something like that. And I thought I was like gonna be famous or something. But anyways, and then after that it just kind of died out. I made stickers and all that stuff, so we still have stickers, I think. Like one of the stickers is on Sam's phone.
Yeah.
And that was it. Then I met Sam.
So I was walking through, his parents our parents live in the same neighborhood, and I was walking down the hill that his parents live on, and he was taking off his Ibis Ripley. He was either taking it off his car or putting it on. And I was like, hey dude, that's a really ugly bike, because I had my Ibis Ritmo at the time. And so we got to talking, and he's like, yeah, let's go out and ride sometime. I'm like, cool. So we exchanged numbers. And then like a week and a half later, he texted me, he's like, hey, do you want to go ride? I'm like, sure. And then we went to OP, rode a little bit of trail, ultimately ended up at Parkwood.
It's Parkwood.
Yeah. And he was like, we were riding up, and I was like, oh, have you hit this before? He's like, no, I haven't done it. It looks a little sketchy. I was like, okay. And then, have you hit this? No, I haven't done that. And so we just got to going up, and I was like, we rode down Main Line. I'm like, dude, you're fully capable of hitting all these features you haven't hit before. Like, I'll tow you in. And so we did that, and he was just like, oh, this is cool. I'm like, yeah dude, that was you.
Right.
You know, and so that's just kind of, we hit it off really quickly. We were both just very about kind of having a good time. And yeah, that's where our friendship started. And he told me about Alamo City MTB, and I was like, that sounds really cool, because I've been looking for, I mean, all I do is mountain bike when I'm not at work. That's really, you know, and so we kind of went from there, and then I guess I'll let you kind of continue.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was it. We started kind of fixing, not really trail building. We started, like, fixing stuff too.
So, like, maintaining, or?
I tried maintaining a lot of spots. There was, like, a huge controversy over the oxbow jumps over there by Prue Road. A little BMX spot over there.
Oh, yeah.
We went through all that, and then, like, had a little fallout with some people, but it was okay. And then from there...
What specifically about, like, the oxbow jumps?
Just because, like, there was, like, a gap, and then people were like, fill the gap in, don't fill the gap in.
And, like, another set of jumps showed up with an even bigger gap that we had nothing to do with.
Yeah. And then, like, because, like, there was multiple people, like, hitting that spot there. And we were just, like, working on kind of, like, maintaining it, not really, like, making anything bigger, just making it more safe for people, and for mountain bikes specifically.
Right.
And unfortunately, the people that don't agree with a lot of, you know, kind of what was happening happened to be the loudest.
So but anyways, like that, but that was no biggie. Like, that was just like a little episode. It wasn't, like I said. And then from then on, we started getting more serious about Alamo City, and we actually hired one of Sam's high school friends to do our logo. And upon the first meeting, I had made already a logo with, like, had Alamo City on it, and had, like, Alamo City MTB logo, and then had Shred Local on the top of it. That was gonna be for a shirt.
It's like a catch is our tagline.
Like a tagline for Alamo City MTB. And then Sam and I got to talking, and we were like, we don't really want to leave it to San Antonio. We don't want to be specific to this area.
Right.
We're going to be a little more generic, or not more generic, just more open.
Like brandable, more applicable to a greater audience.
And that's when Emily says, well, why don't you just call yourselves Shred Local?
Right.
And that's where it all started. So, like, it started from me picking that little motto or whatever, slogan. And then she's the one that kind of pushed us that way. And then we had, like, a bunch of sessions with her where we were trying to figure out what the heck we were trying to draw. We finally figured out what we wanted, and she pretty much nailed it almost spot on. And that's how we have the Coyote and the little Shred Local. And that's how it all started as far as digital. And then from there, we just kind of kept taking trips to Spider Mountain, and we've been, like, trail building here and there. We have our own little spot on Parkwood. It's pretty freaking. I think it's really dope.
It's rad. It's really.
It's got like a gap and everything. Like, it's pretty. We worked on that with a couple of different people. Like, shout out to all the people who worked on it. Like Cody, Matt. These are probably people.
Zach at Crossroads.
Zach from Crossroads helped us out too. Kyle was out there too, even though he wasn't very happy with what we did. But it's okay. We're good friends now, so it's okay.
Yeah, but it's apparently of all the stuff that's taken a hit at Parkwood, it's still very much there. So I think we did it. Everybody that pitched in, we did a good job of making a really cool, unique feature that wasn't there before. So.
But yeah, the whole Shred Local thing. I mean, I think we still have yet to decide where we're going with it.
Yeah, the ultimate direction.
The ultimate direction of it. I mean, obviously, we want to do something really big for the city, or like something really big all in general. But what is it gonna be? I don't know yet. So far we sold merch, so we have our shirts, we have stickers, but we just give those away, obviously. We have the ramp, which we bought with the money that we made from shirts. So we have that ramp, and we use that ramp to try and get as many people out there, to make it more attractive for people to try new things. I mean, it's a scary ramp for a lot of people, but we're hoping that we can get more people kind of getting in the air, doing more things.
Because the coolest thing about it, I mean, it's mobile. Like we were sessioned it primarily today as a step up, which primarily non-existent in San Antonio.
Right.
And so it's just.
You can do a step down. You can do a step up. You can do like tables. I mean, it's really, really cool.
And it's a major. Every time we bring it out, a lot of people progress quickly because it's super accessible. like I said, in its lowest setting, it's pretty tame, but it can get pretty intense pretty quickly.
And which one, like, what's the model, like, not the model, but the brand?
It's a MTB hopper.
Okay,
and
I know what you're talking
about. Their Pro.
Yeah, I think it's a pro
I think
model.
it's the red one.
So what does it go up to, like 7 feet?
No, it
6?
doesn't go that high. It probably goes up to like probably 4 feet.
Nice.
I would say in its highest setting, it's
I would say 4 feet.
yeah, maybe like 3. It gets
3.5.
steep. It's hard to tell, but you can
3.5.
I mean, we've jumped it like distance-wise, probably 25 feet.
Yeah.
And we were going maybe 75%. Like
Dang.
we weren't.
Yeah, we were very awkward back then when we were hitting the ramp.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Shout out to Clark High School.
yeah, that was a month and a half ago, dude. And like right now, I can hit that ramp consistently and always like, and I'm always jumping a little bit further.
Right.
That's a really cool thing about it, and I think like that's one thing that kind of woke me up. That damn, we just need to build something that's like this reliable, but stationary somewhere where like people can just like learn.
Right. And I think some of the stuff, I mean, based off the people I spoke with in Storm and seeing like the plans that they have coming, that stuff is coming. I just don't think it's coming as quickly as a lot of us would like.
Right.
But it's just the nature of dealing with a bureaucracy, like a city or the gatekeepers, if you will.
Gatekeepers.
And the gatekeepers want somebody to hold accountable if something
Right.
happens. So
Yeah.
that is Storm.
I mean, which is understandable, but that's the beauty of like a private company coming
Right.
in. And
So I mean, and that's one of the things that like I hope to do with this, like my platform and like this podcast and stuff is try to somebody's listening to it, the right person hears it, and then we pitch it in a way where they can like, hey, it's a good investment or like
option.
Something that we can talk about, maybe buy a piece of land. I know every time I see like a lot open,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm thinking about it. You know, we've done the same thing. I think for San Antonio, we have a really good idea, which is what a lot of places do up in the northern states, which is doing it all indoors.
Right.
That's going to be like the easiest way to maintain, the easiest way to like.
That makes sense.
And then the easiest way to use it all year round without having to worry about the conditions outside.
Yeah.
The only drawback is that you're more limited in size.
Right.
So unless you buy like what's the biggest facility
Probably like a warehouse or something.
Yeah, like if you buy the what's it called?
the old Lone Star warehouse is like just massive.
That would be cool, man.
That would be so sick.
Yeah, you kind of have like a backstory with it, like a history with it.
Yeah,
It's
man,
kinda
you make it a
centralized
brewery.
downtown.
Like I'm like there's a lot of potential. And,
Yeah.
like we thought about sitting down and building a business model over it. The problem is that although we have good jobs and we were happy with the money that we make, you need a lot of freaking either credit or just a lot of
Collateral.
money
And
for
like,
it.
are we like willing to bankrupt ourselves for life?
Yeah,
you
who's
know,
willing
and
to do that? Like, yeah, sure, we can come up with a show local LLC, but then like
the everything else part is what's just like this isn't 100% realistic for 2 people to undertake.
Right.
You know, we need a lot.
Unless you have like wallet of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading something when we were in Bentonville, and I think you like use it as inheritance. At least that's what it said, and it was like I don't know something crazy like 70 million or something. Like just like investing.
It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like I mean, it's cool that he or she, I think it was a he, like he took his money and believed in it that much, where he invested it into that city or that town. And I do feel that if we can get the right people, and I've said this over and over, to kind of hear this or like just even open up the door, the conversation with somebody, and to try to get whether it be like investors or like multitude of people, it would definitely be a good investment, I feel, for the city, not only in financial gain but also health and wellness, quality of life.
Yeah.
And then also bring like different opportunities for a lot of the kids. Because I always say this every time, like if I had this shit as a kid,
Right.
oh my god, like like I probably when I play football, I probably would be a little bit smarter, not get hit in the head so much. But yeah, man, it's definitely something that's fun and definitely something that's worth trying to fight for. You know what I mean? I feel. You know?
And I know we're talking about a lot of, not necessarily negative things. We just have a lot of, high hopes for this, and kind of recognize the barriers it takes to get to that point. But, I am looking forward to seeing kind of what happens with some of these projects that are planned, in the near future. So we are, we're stoked, but it's, we still got a long ways to go as far as, getting even remotely close to some of the other cities, not that far north of ours,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what they're doing in Dallas, like in Houston and Hills, I mean.
And then the Rockstar Energy Park.
Rockstar Energy Park.
What's that about? I haven't heard that one.
It's like the biggest,
BMX, skateboard.
Just extreme, like
That's in
extreme
Houston or
sport.
Dallas?
In Houston.
Yeah.
In Houston, yeah.
Massive.
Is it dirt or is it concrete?
It's everything. It's like a Woodward kind
okay.
of like.
So they have like the biggest BMX track in Texas. They have
Yeah,
the
they make
biggest
a
skate
triple.
park in Texas. They have a bike only park there as well. And but I mean, like, obviously Houston, made themselves they made themselves appetizing to Rockstar, to come in and
There's so much money there.
to throw some money their way,
I think that's the only thing that's missing in San Antonio. It's like, San Antonio isn't like a poor city whatsoever, but it doesn't have the money that Austin has. It doesn't have the money that Houston or Dallas has. I mean, you're talking about like energy tycoons in Houston, you're talking about tech tycoons in Austin, and then Dallas has like all the real estate and all the old money, yeah. Versus San Antonio. San Antonio, we have a lot of military. We have a lot of smaller companies that do really well, but we don't have that kind of big money.
Well, not yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know that they're trying to make between here and Austin, like the new Silicon Valley, especially with all the stuff that's going on in California, people leaving for various reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of the reasons they're moving here is because the land's cheaper here.
Right.
And so
hopefully that, I mean, when you made it, when they make a reality show in your city, like that's when you know that you made it, man.
I don't know, man. Cops was here and I don't think he did shit. So.
No. I mean like reality housewives or something like that.
Real Housewives.
No, I make a joke of that because there was actually somebody tried to make a reality show in San Antonio and it was just like super whack.
Yeah.
Like, what? You're not driving around in your freaking Bentleys and your Escalades all over?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Where would they be at? I guess the Dominion?
No, Stone Oak. It was gonna be in Stone Oak.
Oh,
was it?
Yeah, I forgot what it was called.
That's not even
man.
like the real like swanky pets, like the fake
That's,
swanky person.
yes. Well, actually, there's a thing about the Dominion too. Like, I'm not getting into it, but like, yeah, like they realized that we're not as rich as like the Real Houses of Atlanta, as like the Real Houses of Beverly Hills, New York, and all. I don't know.
Dallas. I think there's a Dallas one.
There's a Salt Lake City one. And this is all I know from my sisters. They were talking about. They always talk about this, but
connoisseur.
no, but because I remember, because my sister was she was babysitting or something like that for one of the housewives that was gonna be in the show, but they just got canceled. So she was super excited because it was going to be. Oh man, it was.
Yeah.
It had its own like little essay, like puro essay vibe to it too.
Oh yeah.
But
in Stone Oak.
Stone Oak, dude.
Puro essay in Stone Oak.
It was gonna be something weird like that.
That's funny.
Like it was like.
You're gonna have to make it somewhat unique.
Yeah.
Like something.
That's like an oxymoron.
Oh no! I'm not saying like.
It was.
No,
That's
I
what
know
they were
because
shooting
there's Stone
for.
Oak and that's like so like opposite of. Like,
No, I mean I'm not saying like it was gonna be puro, but it was gonna be like instead of being called just like Housewives of something, it was gonna be more like the title of it was going to be like I forgot what it was called.
Gossip Wives. No, I know what you mean, man. Maybe it was a good thing it didn't happen. But,
No, definitely. Oh
Yeah.
man, I hate those like all that.
Yeah, it's so superficial.
But I mean, like, I think we're on that track. I just don't want it to be like 20 years from now when I'm all old and broken and I can't, I'm having to sit in those, recumbent bicycles and I'm shouting at the people that are, hitting all the dope shit.
Just
you know?
No, yeah, I know what you mean, and I think a lot of us are kind of like we want it to happen already. And
Yeah.
we especially like we have to, at least here in San Antonio, we have to travel so far to like go to Reveille or Spider and these various places. I think like probably one of my favorite places to ride is Comfort or Flat Rock. Just because it's only an hour away and like there's a lot of stuff there, but. At the same time, it'd be great to have something here in the city where you could progress and work on your craft, like every day, because gas costs money, and but I know what you mean, and hopefully like these conversations will give different perspectives to people listening.
Yeah.
And maybe the right person will hear, or like know of the right person, like, hey, I know somebody, and reach out. So if anybody's listening to this and you guys are aware of can make the right connections, or have done the research, or know somebody like in San Jose City Council or Parks and Rec or anything like that, it's really just about moving the conversation forward, and then addressing whatever concerns the gatekeepers may have, and it's just really opening up the conversation, and then also pitching to them like the benefits of it, and how it could help the city move forward and kind of expand in a different and change the culture, really. Not necessarily change the culture like specifically to any culture, but just add another flavor to the culture.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And like if y'all like Simon was saying, if y'all know of anything, like reach out to us, let us know how we can help, because this is what we're passionate about. This is why we're sitting here having this discussion, because we love this. Like, this is what we look forward to. We don't work to, buy a big house. We work to afford new bike parts because we broke our old ones. It's like that.
And I speak for myself, but it's crazy how that shifts, like where other things aren't.
Dude, it's crazy.
Like
yes.
Before, like you wanted like a really nice car, like when you're younger, but then when you kind of start getting into this, you're like, I just want my car to get me there and be able to take my bike.
Yes.
And I really want like to put the parts on my bike. It just, I don't know, it just brings a different energy out in each person.
It's like way less materialistic too, which I think is healthier.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Dude, I was into collecting shoes and stuff for a while, and I gave all that up. And I'm just like, I don't care, like nothing. I don't, look forward to purchasing anything other than means to get me from point A to point B, so I can ride my bike at point B.
Yeah. I was like really, and this is something like probably going forward in the future, but I really still want to get like a van. Just like live in a van,
dude.
Just minimalize even more. But yeah, and so I know what you mean about that. It just shifts your perspective on what you feel like was important, and it kind of really just is built around like nature, really. You just appreciate it on different levels, and it changes who you are as a person and what you feel, what you value, really.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I'm much happier with the person I am now than I was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'd have to say like 90% of that is because of this sport.
Yeah.
Like I've met my best friend, through this, and I continue to meet more and more people who are, super positive and just, want the best for everybody, kind of in the community. It's not ideal. Things, people are still people at the end of the day. We make mistakes and say things we shouldn't, but like as a whole, like I've never been kind of like more connected with kind of people on a deeper level than I have, with everybody that I've met mountain biking. So.
Yeah, and that's very true. You just mountain biking it sounds like a fucking cult, but it's not. It's like it's just it's that icebreaker, that like. Because you can meet people from all different kind of walks of life, and they all have different professional backgrounds or what have you. But none of that really matters on the trail, because we're just happy to be out there. And like, it's very rare that I hear anybody, like before when I would go to any type of gathering or group event, that's kind of what people lead off with. Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? It's still like that. And I kind of balk at it at times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like. Like when you meet on the trails and stuff, like none of that like really matters. Like nobody asks those questions. They're just kind of like just happy to be there and just happy to ride. They're not as invested. It's not like what's the word? Like keeping up with the Joneses, if you will.
Yeah, like, it's not, and it's not like that little like small talk. Like, there's no small talk. It's either we're riding, we're talking about riding, we're talking about mountain bikes, we're talking about like how can we help each other out doing better, or that's it. It's like it's more genuine than having to go out of your way to a party or like a bar and like do the whole like the same 4 questions about talk about how you been, the weather, sports,
kind of how much you know,
like
hate everything else you do.
Yeah,
right.
You know, like this is more like, nah, dude, we're just gonna go out and ride, and then like if you're having a bad time, we'll talk about the bad time, and then we just keep riding. Like,
and I really do feel like it's because we're doing something that, I mean, most of us, if we're growing up, if we had a bike, it's something that's kind of taking you back to like being a kid.
Yeah.
And it's you just like hanging out with your friends, really, you know, and just trying to do stupid shit.
Kicking it, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? As opposed to like, you know, being an adult. I'm not saying, but it's just different because you, and especially if you're kind of chasing a different like lifestyle that's kind of usually unattainable. You know, like if you're watching like music videos or like anything that is kind of like in mainstream, you know, like, you know, Bugattis and Lamborghinis.
Yeah.
If that makes you happy, then that's fine. But more often than not, I find that that's not the case. It's just you, because it's like that retail therapy you kind of hear about. It's like a temporary fix to it, you know. But anyways, I know what you're saying, and kind of beating a dead horse here, but yeah.
No, but definitely, I think that's the best part about the mountain biking community, that everybody does it. Usually, everybody does it for, you know, feeling better. And we just try not to focus on the negative, because there's a lot of negative around it. It's just like there's a bunch of negative people all around. But I think that's one of the healthiest sports that I can think of right now.
Yeah, and as far as the mental health aspect, I mean, that's something I've talked about before, and I think we talked about it one time on the trail. Like, it's kind of helped me bring myself out of the place I was in, and it keeps me out of that place. You know, every time I start kind of backsliding, and I don't want to go for a ride, I go for a ride, and like it kind of brings me out of it. And I'm glad I went, and I'm finding more often than not, just through casual conversation, that's a common theme for a lot of people. Like, it helps them bring them out of whatever dark place that they're in. Because life can be a bitch. Life can kick you in the nuts a bunch of times, but if you don't have something to try to help sustaining for you yourself as an individual, then it's a lot harder to get out of that place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, getting all those endorphins running and everything, kind of like before a ride, you're thinking about the color gray. Like after your ride, you think about the color green, man. Like, and I think that's what it is. It's like it changes your perspective, because it changes how you feel about yourself and how you feel just in general.
Right.
I think that's the beauty of any kind of sport, obviously, but especially a sport that's not super competitive, and it's more like kind of, you know, because it's an art to a certain sense. Like, you're like, if you think about it, if you break it down to like line choices, jumping, skidding, doing this and that. It's like that's how you express yourself through the sport itself, and all that kind of brings a lot of happiness, I feel like.
And it's just like, you know, I don't know the conversations, you know, that people have on a golf course, but I can almost promise you they're very different. And you know, they're very different from the conversations that we have, you know, throwing dirt around. Like, it's just like I'm proud of the people that I hang out with. I'm happy that, you know, they want what's best for everybody around them, you know, and that I know that they're here because they want to have a good time. And that's like their sole goal. Like, they're here because, you know, everything else in life is, you know, uncontrollable, and you know, we're all dealing with something that we'd rather not have to, but at the end of the day, we made it out to the trail, and we're there to have a good time, you know, and to enjoy the company of the people around us. And like I said, I can't say that happens in every other sport.
Right. No, yeah, definitely, because, I mean, and not to talk shit about the sports, but if it brings out, like, makes a person happy and truly happy on whatever they're doing, and by all means. But more often than not, like, you know, it's like the balance isn't there. It's like real hyper competitive. Like, I played a lot of football. Baseball was a little bit more chill than football. But football is definitely like a hyper masculine sport, you know. You kind of have to be. You can't just be like, hey, can I tackle you? You know.
That's how I feel, dude. I got the shit tackled out of me.
Like, I don't know. I used to love football, but I definitely, if I had this, then I would have, like, you know, probably gravitated towards this.
I'm a diehard college football fan, but I don't hang out with diehard college football fans, you know, because they're not fun people to be around. Like, you know, for like 2 hours, and even then before the game's over, I'm like, God, I remember why we don't hang out with this shit, you know? So it's just like, it's different, and I love it, you know.
It's a good different, you know, and I think one of the things that's also kind of like highlighted for me, it's like not only like mountain biking, but it's also kind of opened the door and made me realize like when I take Lotus, my dog, out like hiking on the trails and stuff like that. It made me start to appreciate like hiking, you know what I mean, and it made me like start appreciating camping because everything that like those things were like, you know, as a military fucking deployments. I don't want to be outside fucking sweating my ass off, fucking tents, and I don't want to do that shit again. And that's a big common theme right here with the military guys. Like, fuck that, I was in the field all my life, I don't want to fucking do it again. But once you kind of find something that you enjoy doing, it kind of puts like all those different aspects of it in a different light, and it makes you appreciate it again. Because I mean, we tied, you know, experiences to whatever activity it was, and if it was a negative experience, then we focus on the negative.
You reject it.
Yeah. So that's one thing it's kind of helped me, and it's helped me come out of my shell. Like I hate being like, it's strange. It's just a strange dynamic. And I've talked to my wife many times about like quitting, like not necessarily quitting, but I don't really like posting on social media all the time and all these things, even though I do. But when you have a purpose to do it, it makes it more worthwhile to do. But even with that in mind, like raising awareness for mental health, suicide awareness, and what have you, and of course raising raising other people's platform, you know, like what they're doing, like what we're doing here, we're talking about what we're trying to do. Like it makes it worthwhile, and it makes it doable to do. I've had people, like, you know, when I was about to quit, come to me and tell me like, hey, if you know this helped me go get help or whatever. I'm like, oh shit. So you know what I mean? It's just like it's
instantly,
and it's a tough subject to talk about because a lot of people are uncomfortable to talk about that shit. You know what I mean? Not shit, but you know,
like being weak or vulnerable.
Yeah,
like
dude,
that's
vulnerability.
like
not just vulnerability, but just also just people just talking about like their their struggle with depression or like being on SSRIs. But it's so common. But what's very uncommon is people being in a place or having the tools to deal or to talk to somebody or be able to, somebody started crying because they're going through some. What's the common reaction you're gonna do? Like most people do is kind of like, oh shit, hey man, like let's go get a beer, like fucking stop crying, suck it up. It's because it makes that person feel uncomfortable. Yeah, exactly. Right? It's like so you're trying to shut them up.
It's like shut up, Sam. You're making me feel uncomfortable. Stop crying.
But if the people have the tools, like to like, hey man, you get like go ahead, let it out. Like you like just kind of let it go, and then like allow them to release that, just that, or just having somebody to just vent to will do wonders for that person. You don't always have to say something, but just that subject alone it makes people very squeamish and uncomfortable. At least older generations, like the
definitely. I think our generation too. I mean, I'm 29. He's 25. He's almost gonna be 26 too.
46, man.
And still, in our, I don't know, dude. Like shit. Last time I cried, like I was like, hell yeah, I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, but who says that? Yeah. Like, or who are the people on the internet saying that?
Right.
Like nobody says it on the internet.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's really important for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a time and place for everything. You know what I mean? Like there's a time to suck it up, and there's like if it's a survival situation. Like, all right, we'll deal with that later. But it's also important, like you make time for that later to like process that, because you just constantly like eat shit, like push it down. It comes out in other ways.
I think that was like one of the cool things of Angel Fire, that I was like, dude, I was zen almost the whole trip.
Yeah.
Like almost the whole trip. But it was like, we spent one day like being outside the whole day. Like we were swimming in the river.
The Rio.
We were swimming and like we were into like warm springs, and we were like hiking and stuff. Dude, like all that like just like brings like so much calmness and peacefulness. So.
Yeah. And is that something you did when you were a kid?
As a kid, like I did, but I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you can.
You appreciate it.
You appreciate it as much because you're mostly thinking about, okay, I need to hike this and then I can go play on my Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I need to do this and then like I get something out of it. You don't see it as
it's more of a chore.
Yeah, you see it as a chore rather than as a not a reward, because the reward comes afterwards, but like as therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't enjoy the process. You know what I mean? Whereas like, I mean that Wednesday we spent just, you know, messing around hiking, you know, swimming in the river. That was, I mean, of course the biking was like phenomenal.
Right.
But just that day alone was like top, you know, moment of that trip. Whereas like 3 years ago, I was just been like, oh, that sounds really kind of inconvenient. It's we have to drive to Taos and we're gonna get in the river. I mean, like I like to swim, but you know what I mean. It's not.
Yeah. I can go swimming right here.
Yeah.
You know?
But dude, I mean, now like I'm a very different person. It's just like, and it's all, you know, because of biking.
Yeah.
You know, helped me kind of change my perspective on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you enjoy kind of just peace, and you enjoy like just moments. That's cool.
Yeah, man, that's badass. And no, yeah, that's definitely, and everyone, like not everyone, but some of the people that, like, you know, shared their part of their story with me. It's kind of like this, like different variations of the story, but it's kind of the same thing.
But also, I don't want to add on to that because I don't want to get off the topic we were on.
Yeah.
But those settings allow for conversations like that to come up, and we had a moment when we were at Angel Fire where I was upset, and I started crying because it kind of elicited some things that I went through as a kid.
Yeah.
And you know, I talked about it with Jared. It took me a while, but you know, got through it and everything. And you know, had we been like in a different setting, had we been in a bar or something, like that probably wouldn't have come up or transpired in a way, you know, different kind of scenario that wouldn't have been beneficial, you know, to me.
Might have just compounded your problems.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just sucked it up or something like that.
But it was a great moment. You know, it was one of the most, you know, vulnerable kind of experiences for me in a long time. But that wouldn't have happened had we not, you know, been, you know, on a bike trip, you know, in an area that was, you know, cool for that, you know, conversation to kind of unfold.
And it happened like naturally too, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you didn't go on the trip expecting like I'm gonna talk about this.
Dude. Yeah.
No, dude.
And it just like
11 o'clock on Thursday.
No, and I mean, it all got triggered like naturally too.
Yeah.
So I think it was. I mean, it had to be lived, and it's just like one of those things where like I think we hope that more, especially men, like have that kind of like comfort level with their other friends to talk about like, oh shit, dude, like this is really hurting me, or that's really hurting me, this really bothers me. I'm not talking about like, dude, every time you say that word, like it pisses me, like that sounds like personal issues,
right?
But like more like, you know, like the repeated like acute damage that people can do to you, you definitely like kind of bring that up.
And it's definitely important. Like I think I've been processing this a lot. That I think a lot of people, they feel that if they become vulnerable or what have you, then I mean there's the general thing, it's like I'm gonna be weak or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a difference. Like if you're doing it with the intention to elicit a certain response from somebody, because it's like if somebody's like, I'm gonna put this out there so I can get attention.
Right.
You know, there's that part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the other part of it where people are what's the word? They're saying it like with
like
charge. That's my train of thought. No, like where they're saying it in the sense of, so there's that part of it, or they're saying it like it's one thing to say it and just kind of like, hey, this is what it is. You know, I don't expect you to do anything with it. This is kind of where it's at, and like I'm expressing it, and that's it. But at the end of the day, like I can like react and not react, but
kind of
be in this vulnerable state. But at the same time, like it doesn't shift me as a man. Like like there's also like I can say this, and then like that's one suit that I'm wearing, if you will, like a version of yourself that was, you know, affected in one way. but in the next like thing, like I can still shift and I can we'll still go at it. Like we need like, so it's understanding like which version of yourself that you can like you're sharing. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where you're not.
It's not like you're not wearing the suit of a weaker person. You're just showing that you can be weak.
I can be this. I can be this. I can also be this.
Yes,
and I can also be this.
Yeah, right.
You know, but I think a lot of people feel that men, especially, like that once you say one thing, then you're always that.
You're immediately labeled as
and you're stuck in that pattern. But like no, like I can say this, and I'm still like a man. I can still say how this made me feel, and like if I cried, and then I cried. But then in the next go, like I can put that aside, and we can fucking go at it too. And we need to, I'm not saying like to defend people away, like push them away, but just it's understanding that you're you have different faces, you know. And I'm not saying like in a medical thing, but we all have. Like when you're at work, you present yourself in a different way.
Persona.
And then so when you're around friends, you have a different. You allow yourself to be in a different place with parents, and those are all different faces that everyone wears within their life. But a lot of people think that all those faces are combined,
one thing,
and they don't know how to separate them. So if you're able to, be vulnerable in this state, it doesn't mean that you can't shift out of that to be. A husband or boyfriend, or, whatever you need to be. And I think once men understand that they can be this in this second, and and then, not necessarily shut it off, but like put it to the side and then handle shit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And once they understand that, then they can also understand that they can access different parts of themselves. So there's like the military side of me where I can like lock shit up and like tell people what to do and like take action. And there's another part of me like, all right, no, I got to shift focus. Like I'm a husband, so I got to be like, shift focus out of that. But when you don't have the bandwidth to be able to take those versions of yourself and use them when you need to, it's all convoluted. And then
you're lost. I mean, like.
Yeah, I'll speak from my personal.
I was gonna say this is very much from like a military I guess from what I've heard from a lot of people who have served in the forces or even police, like they take home the same person that they are at the office,
right? Which
is like very beneficial in one like regard at home, and that's about it. And it's like, but you have to be able to, okay. You don't have to wear your shield. You don't have to lower that. You can leave that at the door.
But it's hard to do because it becomes like when you're doing it for so long,
because your identity
becomes part of you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then that's another thing. Like I'm not trying to, like when you exit whatever profession you're in, because it doesn't have to be the military. It could be like you're a financer for 20 years and you're dealing with money, and so that you have to have a certain, like when you're doing business, you have to talk to people a certain way. It's business, right? People come off like an asshole, and that's just who they are, and they take that home as well. So it doesn't have to necessarily be the military, but it's whatever you identify as. And if you're not able to separate from those different faces of yourself, and you're just all one, then you're not pleasant to be around. I'll just say, I'll speak for myself. And it's like, stepping back, doing something for yourself, which is mountain biking or swimming or whatever the fuck you do, and like that allows you to have the bandwidth to be able to start understanding like these different phases of yourself, and then start separating them, and then access those when you need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, like that's kind of what I was talking about, like how the the environment is conducive to like allowing and helping that process happen. So
that's what I heard when you're telling me that when you went to Angel Fire, you had this like amazing experience, and I had the same thing. The guys that we were with, we had the same experience, I'm pretty sure, and you can just tell like the vibe from when we started, and like the vibe afterwards, and everyone like was just chill, relaxed, and it allows for like a place for someone to be where they can be vulnerable. Because you just had this similar shared experience.
It's like a fraternal like event.
Exactly.
Like it's just homies, like chilling.
But if I guess my big thing is what I'm trying to say is if people can find that thing that they can do for themselves that allows them to get to a place to have that bandwidth, to, because when you're tapped out with work and family and life problems, and you never do anything for yourself, it's just like you're in this constant, ops tempo, high ops tempo, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then you're never able to pull yourself out of that. But when you're able to do something like mountain biking or playing basketball, whatever brings somebody joy, then they're able to kind of like reset,
break off from
and then
that
go
copy
home.
paste version of you that you were that was garbage, and now you've like completely started rewriting the script all over again.
Exactly, because it brings you to a place. I'm pretty sure when you're writing, things click. You're like, oh shit, I never thought about it that way. Because that's what happens.
It makes you more human, like, right? Because like if not, you just completely like brain dead, and like you're just like
you're just like you're another cog in the machine,
exactly.
Without it, like. No, that Angel Fire trip was my first vacation in 3 years since I graduated college. Like, and so it was like high school grind, college grind, get out, 3 different nursing gigs, and 2 different cities, and I was just like, I need a break. And that's why when I like pitched this idea to Jerry, he's like, wait, how many days? I'm like, 7.
Dude, 7 days? That's pretty
badass is one word.
It was a lot, dude. Coming back to Texas, like we were both like, mentally we were checked out. Like,
it was definitely worth it.
Yeah,
like it was 100% worth it. But I think we overstayed our visit by 12 hours.
Yeah, that's it. And it was all like 6 of those hours were spent what felt like in Lubbock.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm so tired of pizza.
Dude, Lubbock was rough. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was cool, man. But yeah, dude, it's a beautiful sport that just keeps taking me places.
Yeah.
Both physically and mentally. But I'm very, very stoked about.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I know, and it kind of one of the biggest things is like it opens one door, and then like one of the things I love about mountain biking is that it takes you to places that you can't go in a car. So you're able to see things that not everyone can see, and then you have to work for it to get there. So you have that like that journey, right? You drive there; it's a long drive. You get there, you ride. You have to work uphill to get there. You see this awesome view, however unique it is. The way down is like badass. It's exhilarating. It's fun. Yeah. And then like you have the shared experience, and then you do that over and over, and then you're also in nature, and then you're like, where else can we go? So it puts another mark like in the like Moab's next, or this is next, and then something to work for, like look forward to, as opposed to not having anything to look forward to, like fun. And I'm not knocking like work or anything, but it's just like if you never pull yourself out of that environment, then you never really know what else exists. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's not even just pulling yourself out. It's like pulling yourself out and then putting yourself into a different environment,
right?
And like being a different person. I think that's what I've noticed, at least in the work environment. Like people literally are the same people who they are to their wife, who they are to their kids, who they are to their co-workers, and it's just like, God,
and every version of that person sucks.
It's the same version.
Yeah, that's right. That same version sucks. Versus
like that one version sucks, right? Versus like, man, I just suck whenever I'm being a little bitch, but at least like when I'm mountain biking, I'm mountain biking.
Yeah,
it's like, or whenever I'm doing whatever.
And that's the thing too. Like, I don't think a lot of people are aware that they're that person because they're so used to it, and their family's used to it, and.
Or your dad was doing like that's how your dad was.
Yeah, dude, it's just like
it's just you're just
a learned behavior, pretty much.
And that's the cool thing about mountain biking is it doesn't have to just be that. You know what I mean? And there's people that will teach you that. Not verbally.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Like you have to take yourself out and also inject yourself in. Like you can't. I'm sure you can definitely be a mountain biker who's just the same person who they are at work.
Right.
But you have to be actually like. Allow yourself to open up or like have relationships with new people that hopefully teach you that you don't have to be like this person all over.
And that also has to do like not just with mountain bike, but it also has to do with like taking self accountability.
Right.
Like you know what, I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that, and it's like owning it and be like, you know what, hey, my bad. I shouldn't have said that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like you have to put yourself back into the spot where. You're dealing with other people that you're not really like super friends with, but you are friends with, and like you have to be approachable, and then like all these things.
Yeah.
But if you're just being the same, I don't know, like let's say Bob that's at work, that's at the mountain, but like you're probably not going to have a lot of friends.
You're not going to get much out of it.
And you're not going to get as much from the friendships of riding and things like that. Yeah, because you can be the same Bob and you're going to probably just mountain bike to get miles in.
Right.
But which is fine, whatever.
Break your Strava record.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, like there's such a beautiful community around it. Why not, take fruit from it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like kind of giving back and stuff like that, taking and giving back.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with that, and just like the accountability aspect of it is just like to be self-reflective of like, because I remember I used to have this misconception when I was growing up, because it's like in the neighborhood I grew up in, the biggest thing was like if you ever leave, like don't forget where you came from. It was like that big thing, like don't forget where you came from. Yada yada, and then. But what does that say? Or like you better, like it was a bad thing if you change, right? You better not change.
Yeah.
And like at the time, you're like as a kid, you're like, oh shit, I can't change. Like and then you started. And if you start to change, people call it out because they see it, like because you're an anomaly now.
Yeah. You're too good for this life.
You're too good for this life, And it's like when you have like room to grow and you meet other people and like these different like experiences, these different perspectives from these different backgrounds, and you start to change, you're like after a while you're like, fuck, like I don't want to be the same.
Yeah,
like,
not only are they welcoming of it, they encourage it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They encourage you to change. They encourage you to grow.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's key.
Yeah, and so when you kind of go back to like certain people like that you grew up around with or whatever. And that's not accepted. It's just kind of like, no, like we need, like change is necessary.
Yeah, dude.
You need to grow, you need to learn, you need to like challenge yourself in these different views, and that's part of being a person. You know what I mean? Like to be a better person.
Yeah.
And just getting out of that, getting comfortable being outside of the box.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing for a lot of people is, and this might, I don't want to upset anybody, but like if you think the same way your parents do.
Yeah.
Like, there's more to life than just what you were like nurtured.
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
I tell my kids that my job as a parent is to make you a better version of me, or like a better version of like than I was, and that's by giving you different experiences, like while you're still under the household, and giving you these different experiences, whether it be camping or like mountain biking or fishing, to give you as much exposure as I can, so you kind of have an idea of what you like and what you don't like, and you have these experiences. So if you ever had to do it for yourself, then you can do it for yourself. And you're like, while you're under the household, like you're like, now's the time to fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can't help you if I don't.
There's an umbrella right now.
Yeah, there's an umbrella right now. Because once you're 18 and you fuck up, I can't do shit. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's what it is. Like, I never understood that when my dad would tell me, like, no, mijo, like, you have to be better than me, And I'd be like, no, like, because I felt bad. I was like, because I thought he was, putting himself down.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't understand it. And, but as I grow older and I get it, I'm like, and I see, like, my kids, I'm like, you're way smarter than I was at your age. And, like, you have so much potential, and I'm trying to show you these things. But at the same time, like, that comes with, it's like you're talking about when you're in the woods, you're like, oh, shit, I want to get back to my Game Boy or whatever. It's kind of the same thing, and it's like you're trying to give information in general to any kids.
Right.
And it's like, you know what you're talking about, you know what I mean? Because I was young and dumb too, and I thought I knew everything, but it doesn't, like, you can give people the answers to everything, but if they don't have any experiences to go with those answers, then it ain't gonna do them shit.
Yeah.
But those answers, or not answers, but those, like, I don't know, I guess answers for life or whatever, if they can hold on to them when they get older, then they have the experience to go with it. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's things parents have told you, and you're like, I get it now.
Right. Because you can have the answers, but if you don't learn the lesson, like if you don't experience the lesson, actually, the answers don't mean shit.
Yep. Yep. And it's kind of funny like that, like life's kind of funny like that.
Yeah.
Because there's still stuff that like my mom or my dad used to tell me, I'm just like, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, if that
was
was
an asshole.
if that was the case, dude, if that was the case, there would only be like one self-help book.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It has one page. It's like, be a nice person.
Don't be an asshole.
Love your neighbor.
Yeah.
Everything
Dude, it's like, and then like the end. It's
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was the like,
I think my biggest thing is just trying to put myself in different situations, and I have a drastic, like, very different group of friends that all have very different views on lots of different things. You know, I have my views, but I'm cool with hearing people out, and if I disagree with them, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hate that person.
Yeah.
Because that's only gonna drive like the divide. You know, like, and half the time, like, if I don't agree with them, I'm not gonna like start a problem because I'm not gonna change their like how they feel or how they think. Like, and that's what, you know, mountain biking has taught me a lot. It's like, well, at the end of the day, we all have mountain biking in common, you know, and like we'll go from there. And like I mean, to this day, I still have like lots of friends that are like, well, that's kind of really ignorant, but you know, we're getting better.
Yeah. And you know, like, we're all ignorant to certain things, but at the same time, yeah, you're right. It's okay to disagree, and I really do feel, not to get too much on this tangent. Yeah. That's a big problem with the country right now, is that people forgot how to like agree to disagree.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've always disagreed, but at the end of the day, like, we're so upset about something, what if it's not in your viewpoint, then you're not willing to even like question your own like belief system.
I think we're being trained to like just project what we like our beliefs, and as soon as we feel like there's a little bit of friction against our beliefs, we're supposed to like defend. Like, instead of like
maybe what I'm thinking might not, you know,
or just saying like, you know what, it's okay to think different things, but because that's the main thing. Like, nobody says like I believe something without like, how do I put this, like, without having an agenda behind it. Like, everything has an agenda now, and it's just like, why can't we just like say like, okay, well, I believe this, I believe that because of that.
Right.
Have a conversation about it.
One thing I try to tell people is like, even if you disagree with them, at least try to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's
and then, like, you don't have to like continue on past that. Just stop there.
Yeah.
You know, like, I get what you're saying.
No, definitely.
I still disagree with you.
But
you know, I get what you're saying. I see your viewpoint, but I don't agree with you.
I'm an adolescent psych nurse, and that's what half my day is spent, is talking to kids that have these really deep-seated, drastically skewed views and reasons for why they do what they do, and stuff. And I don't talk to dissuade them. I just, my goal is to understand where they're coming from, so that I can then reach a very basic, simple understanding point where to like carry conversation forward around that like issue, because clearly I'm not going to change their mind, but I can at least get them to, you know, develop a trusting relationship with me, because, you know, the moment I go in there, I'm a stranger. I'm just another stranger, and 90% of the kids that come in there don't have good relationships with people because of things that have happened to them in their past. And so, like, clearly me walking in there and screaming at this kid, no, everything you're doing is wrong. That's what's been happening their whole life. You know what I mean?
Like, right when you start doing that, they're already going to be defensive.
Exactly.
Get aggressive.
And I feel like that's how everybody talks now.
Yeah,
everybody talks like they know everything.
And I was like,
freaking
at
internet.
The end of the day, I can tell you why like 95% of my kids are here. It's because of this. Like, a lot of it has to do with this culture of just like screaming at people and telling them they're wrong, but not actually like talking about it.
Unfortunately, a lot of it has to do with what they learn from their parents.
Yeah.
Like, if their parents are like being confrontational with other people and like, fuck that guy, blah blah blah, you know, and they don't see their parents like trying to resolve this situation and try to like, you know, have a conversation, then that's gonna, I mean, whatever belief systems that they like the kid believes, I mean, it doesn't matter, but the actions of what they learn from either their parents or their whatever adults that are in their life, they're going to react in the same way because that's the environment they live in.
Especially, 100%. Like, the environment that you live in kind of creates the person that you are.
Right.
But I think older kids now, or even our generation and even older generations, not that the internet, they have a whole group of friends online that backs up what they think and what they believe, and so now it's
the tribal,
the little like internet tribal like gangs that build like which with whatever topic of conversation that you choose.
Just even
from,
mountain
like,
biking, man. I didn't know shit talking about other brands. Like,
Yeah.
And it's just like, and because they find
right.
dude, and you find a group that believes the same thing that you do, and you just live around that little
run
wave,
with it, like.
and you just run with it, and everything that anybody tells you outside of that little world is going to be wrong,
right?
Because you know that there's people that believe what you believe in.
So in their group, it validates what there's like.
It's like a self-perpetual validation wave, like dude, like it's just like,
ice cream cone.
yeah, dude. Like seriously, dude, you build a group about how like the ants are gonna take over the world, dude. There's gonna be followers on that thing, like. And if you tell them like they can't, like they physically, like their mental capacity isn't strong enough for them to build anything more than like a hole in the ground. It's like, no, but like Joey and like did research, and it's like, oh man, Joey's research is just.
What was his research? Facebook.
Like, it's just like Joey's research. What does Joey do for a living? Oh, he's a taxpayer by day and like a janitor by night. Like it's just like, oh, okay.
But yeah, that's why, like, that's another thing, is like mountain biking gets me out of like the circle of people that I would, you know, hang out with subconsciously, you know what I mean? It puts me into conversations that I wouldn't, you know, typically have. You know, just because like I'm a nurse, so I tend to hang out with people that are in the medical field, and there's all kinds of like, you know, like just
nurse speak.
Yeah. And so it's
like whatever gossip's going around in the office or
I don't know. That's why I love mountain biking, because it gets me away from people like that. You know, like
I intentionally, even on Instagram, I intentionally follow people that have different perspectives than I do. Not like drastically. Sometimes I would like peep in like just to see like the way someone's thinking. It's not like to like poke fun. It's just like why do they think that way? And then I'll just like chew on it for a while, and I'm like, man, that's why. I don't know why. That's just kind of always been my thing. But anyways, I try to do that so I don't get stuck in the same rut where I'm always thinking the same way all the time. And I try to hang out with people that, you know, and I think the military's taught me that, because when you join, you're like from different states, different backgrounds, different cities, you know, different income levels that they're coming from, and you know, so you're having to like work with different people all at once, like right away. And that was a culture shock for me. But from then on, it's kind of conditioned me to kind of listen to other people and like listen, at least try to understand, because we all have the same goal, right? We're all in the same country. We're trying to move in the same direction. We should be. But I agree with you. Mountain biking does definitely bring you in these different, like, you know, perspectives all around, and especially on the trail, like people just talk about wild shit all the time, you know? And it's just poke fun or have fun or whatever, but it's all like fun.
The old e-bike guys, man, they come at swinging for the fences sometimes, but I'm like, what am I listening to?
I love them.
I love those guys. Man. I especially like riding with e-bike guys because it pushes me to push
go faster.
I usually like ride in front of them too. So I'm like, I think they're right on my ass. I'm trying to go faster.
There was a time when I was riding with Jesse quite often.
Oh yeah, I love Jesse.
Dude. Jesse's the best.
That was years ago, years ago. But I mean, talk about keeping up, like conditioning.
Like, he's a beast, man. Let him go through, you know, pancreatic cancer and other stuff, and just like push through, and like that dude's fucking badass. But I think like I think it's a good place to end it. But how can people get a hold of you guys? Like, where you guys at? Like, what your social media presence, as well as Emily and anybody else you guys want to give shout outs to?
We pretty much just use Instagram for everything. I mean, we have our YouTube page, which we're working on getting a lot more, like at least
under construction. Gotcha.
I think we want to go to the route of maybe even making like a little, not a web page, but like a little like shop online for our shirts, because we do have shirts.
Oh, nice.
I guess that's our biggest thing. We're trying to move shirts right now.
I think so. Like,
so where can they get shirts?
Hit us up on Instagram at Shred Local.
Shred _
Yeah, Shred _ Local.
Okay, I'll put something at the bottom.
Easy. That's easiest way. I mean, we both manage it, so don't think like you're talking to me or you're talking to Sam. Like it's gonna be one of us, and then that's ours. We have our personals that are on our bio. If you guys want to reach out to us like on our personal pages, but we don't really use that as much as Sure Local. We don't have Facebook for Sure Local. I don't plan on having a Facebook for Sure
That's
Local.
fine.
And
It makes things easier. People find you on one page.
Yeah, on Instagram, it makes it very easy.
I'll get you Emily's Instagram tag,
Okay.
so if people are looking
Yeah,
for
and
Instagram.
Emily's she's the girl that helped us out with our logo and our font for Sure Local. Do you have it? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So this is there's their decal.
Yeah.
I don't
Super
know which
dope
camera's
job.
better. Either way, you can.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of a. Yeah, so this one was pretty freaking cool. It took us forever to get this, and Emily was super cool and helped us out with this.
Our shirts have the same like design on them. We're actually pretty proud of the shirts. Really
Yeah,
dope
the
shirts.
shirts.
Yeah, I saw you wearing them at the cyclocross
Yeah,
race. So
dude.
definitely. Yeah, I knew you.
So we have a couple of those that we need to move, and as soon as we sell them all, we're probably gonna order either or just come up with a new shirt. I think ultimately, like, we completely forgot about our goals. Like, we know our end goal is to like be super rich and have
giant bike park
for San Antonio.
Yeah.
But like obviously that's like way down the road. But we do want to come out with clothing at some point. I think that's something that we lost track of. It was we were
talking about hats and socks and all kinds of dope stuff.
Yeah, but like what? Because one thing that we're missing in the I think in the biking community is like inexpensive, cool clothing.
Yeah.
It's not like super like
$90 like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
you want to make stuff that's affordable for the community.
affordable and that looks good. It's not like super like copy paste from everywhere. Everybody else uses like energy drink style logos, or they use like
the same cracked font
or
everything. You know
and like or camo everywhere. And it's just like, can we just change it up a little bit?
Yeah. Something unique, something original that doesn't break the bank. You know?
Gotcha.
Like, that's kind of what we're about. We're about hanging out with large groups of people, having just a really good time. We want like our kind of clothing to reflect that. We don't want to be,
just chill.
Yeah, just something you can just pull off the shelf and get like everywhere else. So
yeah.
It's just we want kind of everything we do to reflect that kind of
your
vibe.
personas.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's
Instagram primarily is where we spend most of our time. So if people want
we
to
make deliveries. We personally make deliveries of the
We'll
shirts.
show up at your house with how many shirts
So
you
you
want.
guys are in Minnesota. These guys are gonna.
Okay, in San Antonio. Gosh, dang it, we gotta do a drop off thing.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks for hosting us,
Yeah, man.
This is a blast. I don't even know how long we've been for.
Yeah,
shout out to Pivot. They sponsor this podcast.
Yes.
Oh man,
I
2
wish.
hours.
I wish.
Oh man. Dude,
Yeah.
it felt like 10 minutes, man.
That's good, man.
Thanks for having us out there,
Yeah,
man.
definitely, man. And look forward to having you guys on once you guys kind of dial in, the direction you guys want to go and kind of fine tune it. And man, we'll just circle back then. But you can find them at shred_loco on Instagram. And as always, if you guys have any people you want me to bring on or interview or suggestions for the show or things to talk about, let me know in the comments. And we'll just try to keep this thing going, keep trying to highlight people trying to do good things in the community and keep it rolling. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
All right, man. Out.